Amelia was a teenager, and the teenage years can be pretty tough to navigate as a parent, but spare a thought for the teenagers themselves. It's a time of change and trying to sort out your identity. It's a struggle, Sonia.
Hormones, it's all going crazy. So this week we're dedicating our parenting panel to those tricky teenage years, and joining us today, Tracey Spicer, Dannielle Miller and Tiffany Dunk. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, Tiffany, you're the editor of Dolly magazine, and you've done a study really on what teenagers worry about most.
Yep.
Top of that list is getting a job after school. I don't believe that.
No, it actually is. If you think about the world now, you know, teenagers are being told you have to get into university and able to have a career that you want. It's a lot harder to get a start in the workplace now. So, I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I left school. I did something completely different before I landed in magazines. These girls are really worried that they don't have that option and they have to know now.
And we're probably all told too that, look, don't worry about, you know, finding your partner or whatever. Those things will all sort themselves out. But the pressure, Dannielle, in terms of the job, it's like, OK, school's finished. What are you going to do?
Yeah, look, it is a little unusual. Mission Australia also do a huge youth survey, and they survey 45,000 teens. The three main worries that they were able to identify were homework, stress and body image. So I suppose that life beyond the classroom could easily come under that sort of homework stress umbrella. And I think it is, you know, changing times. It is more difficult, and there are pressures, particularly on girls, to think about what they might like to do and to be everything all at once.
Tracey, what do you think?
I think you've got to look at it from a global perspective. We're talking about Generation Z here, so they're born between 1995 and 2010. The teenagers in that group, they don't remember September 11, but they remember the global financial crisis and broadly the Great Recession that we've seen since 2008. So no wonder they're terrified. They've got this insecurity about, is there going to be a job for me in this world? The economies are crumbling.
Yeah, I tell you what I find difficult about this. I don't have children, but my sister has teenagers, and we've been through those teenage years together, and I've listened to her talk about, you know, them trying to find work. They're now into their 20s, 21, 22, 23, and they're still not kind of sorted out in terms of a career path going forward. And I don't think when they left school that was their priority at all. So, I mean, it's just interesting, I guess.
I sense an intervention.
It's just my family.
Yeah, I like to tell the girls that, you know, you don't have to stress about it now. That, you know, you're told you have to do things a certain way, but, you know, you can do things a different way. It might be a little bit harder, it might take you a bit longer, but things can happen if you are willing to put the work in.
It's the independence thing, though, isn't it? Because it's like, OK, you want to go and young girls want to have their own. They want to have it for themselves.
And Tiffany's point's a really great one, that girls don't have to decide right now what they'd like to do for the rest of their life. That's enormous pressure when you're not even sure what you'd like for lunch. The reality is that there are lots of pathways to employment, and so there is time to make mistakes. And in fact, the teen years are the years that they should be making mistakes. The stakes are bigger and higher when you're an adult.
Danny, sorry to interrupt. I just want to ask you, Tiff, there was one thing that rated very highly on this scale that teenage girls were worried about, and it was having to look good all the time just in case their photo was taken and put on Facebook.
Yeah, because, you know, when you were a teenager, you used to worry about a camera coming out and seeing something in a photo album. But now imagine it's on the digital atmosphere. So girls are putting on makeup before they leave the house, before they go to a sleepover. They're freaking out about what's going to happen after those photos are published online. And I don't know if you've seen a group of teenage girls. They are constantly
taking photos with their phones.
Yeah, exactly.
And grown women are doing that too. But you know what? I think this has always been around. In the times of Cleopatra, there was mercury in mascara, lead in lipstick. Women have always suffered for beauty, even from the teenage years. There were the Deb photos in the 1950s and 60s. There's always been an event. So I genuinely don't think the proliferation of photos has changed it. I'm so glad to have been grown up at a time where there wasn't Facebook.
The difference is that it's all the time. It's not just at an event. It's in everyday life. And so it's like, I don't want to go to the shopping centre because someone might take my photo.
And you have no control over distribution. So in the days gone by, you know, as you said, there was a photo in an album. If you didn't like it, you burnt it. Today, that photo can be circulated widely. But I've got to say, I mean, it is magazines and popular culture that also contribute to that, because they Photoshop and airbrush and manipulate images with...
Not Dolly.
No.
Photoshop or
we had this
airbrush.
conversation upstairs that Dolly's choosing not to, which is a great step in the right direction, because otherwise girls are surrounded by images that are lying to them. They're trying to live up to the impossible, which means that the only way they feel they can do that is by masking asking everything about them that's human.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a very interesting study. And
It's like trying to sort out algebra, isn't it, teenagers?
It's
But you've done well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if you have something that your teenagers are worried about, then write to us on Facebook and we'll get the ladies to sort it out. We just want to get a quick picture of you before you go. You just sit together. There we go, lovely.
While that's happening,
Tag
here's
that
something
shot.
Yvette has
And
got
don't
for you.
Photoshop it.